Hello, welcome to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the weekly reading for the sign of Libra. It's going to be for the week January 25th to the 31st. And let's go ahead and just get right into pulling out your romance angel messages for the week, okay? We're going to see what those messages are, just to see what the nature of your more intimate relationships or family relationships may be like. So let's just see. And then we'll pull out your animal spirits and your forecast for the week. Now, if you're new to my channel, you can check out in the description. There's links to your other readings for January, your January love reading, your 2020 outlook and 2020 love outlook. All right, we have religious factors, factoring into your personal relationships. We have give your relationship a chance. So it's time to work on some partnerships, perhaps. And we have romantic feelings. All right, Libra. Very nice. All right. Let's get your animal spirits out. All right. So, Libra, religious factors, give your relationship a chance, and romantic feelings. Interesting. You know, that can mean a couple of different things depending on your situation. We'll know more when we pull your cards out. Now we're just going to look at any animal spirits that you may be dealing with this week in terms of energy that's becoming available to you, or characteristics of individuals you may be dealing with this week. So let's just see what you may or may not have for an animal spirit this week. So just take what applies to you, Libra. Of course, this reading can't be for all Libras. Straight out, we have the mouse. The mouse has shown up for quite a few of the weeklies and some of the monthlies lately as well. Earth energy, talking about really getting bogged down in the details. Spider, more earth energy. This is the animal spirit for Dharma. And then we have the turtle. So, water element. Turtle is associated with storytellers, right? People who collect stories. Now, let's get right into your animal spirits, the mouse. The mouse indicates an earthy animal, right? And the mouse is very busy. Busy, 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 always running around, always doing something. But the one thing with this energy is that oftentimes the mouse can get really overwhelmed, can find itself taking on too many tasks, and ultimately just finds itself sort of chasing its own tail, not getting very much done. Being unable to really see the bigger picture. It can indicate a sense of losing perspective because you've just gotten so caught up with all of the little details of a particular event or environment or issue or something that you're trying to accomplish. You could be sort of just overwhelmed with all of the little tasks that it takes for you to sort of manifest that goal, or to live in that environment, what have you. And it can just get a feeling of, become a feeling of overwhelming sort of panic sometimes as well, right? So if you are resonating with this kind of energy, oftentimes the best thing to do is just to step back for a minute and try to gain more perspective of what it is that you're really trying to achieve, and take a break, right? Take a realistic look at all of the sort of responsibilities you've taken on. Now, the spider is also more earth element, and the spider is associated with Dharma. And Dharma is when we sort of live our life according to a belief, right? When it's not enough for us to just get up every day and sort of just take every day as it comes, you know what I mean? You know, with Dharma, we talk about having a real sort of sense of faith in something, whether that's a spiritual path or a religious path, or just a way of life, or way of living your life that you really adhere to strongly. So this is something that you follow every day. So when you get up every day, you know, your decisions are sort of, all of your decisions and your behaviors, etc., are all impacted by this really strong sense of faith. And so the spider is the animal spirit for this because the spider follows its dharma, right? It lives a life like that. And so you can see that by doing that and being kind of committed to its moral center or its spiritual center, you know, it creates all of its actions and behaviors and modes of interacting with individuals forms a web, it forms a pattern. And that's because it's always sort of based on their belief. And examples like if you come across, in America we have so many different faiths, right? But the good old Baptist, church going, God fearing woman, right? Has worked her whole life, right? This is an example of somebody who lives their life with Dharma because everything that she does, it's informed by her faith, right? She practices her faith on a regular basis, but it's not even only that. It's like, she says things like, well, what would Jesus want me to do? Or what would the good book tell me to do? And this is how she lives her life, right? Now, that's just an example. Because of course Dharma is about your personal beliefs. It could be a religious belief such as Christianity. It could be a Christian or some derivative thereof, or Hindu, whatever the case may be. Or you just may be following a spiritual path in life. It's a very strong card. And it's a very strong earthy kind of soul card. The spider really provides a strong financial basis and spiritual basis for itself and for those around it. So it's a very strong card in that way. Now we have the turtle. Of course, the turtle is associated with earth, with the water element. And the turtle is an interesting animal spirit. The turtle is one of these animals that has a very sort of a deep sense of feeling and empathy and understanding. Turtles are in a lot of ways, they're an earthy creature, right? But they're associated with water because these are individuals who are strong enough, sort of generally strong enough emotionally, to be able to handle a lot of deep issues. This is one of the reasons why the turtle is associated with storytellers or story writers or people who collect stories and share them in, amongst the populace, because you have to have a certain level of empathy and feeling for the story, right? So you feel like the character, you feel like the person is telling you the story or what have you. But you also have to then have enough sort of separation from it to be able to retell the story, right? So it's like a really fine line between being very sort of empathic, in a lot of ways, empathetic, but also empathic, being able to feel very deeply, but also being grounded enough that you can just sort of explain that or communicate that to others. So a lot of times somebody who's resonating with turtle energy could be a healer, right? They could be storytellers. They could be someone who heals people with their art in some way, or with definitely with their ability to tell a story or to write. So certainly writers. But in any case, it's a very strong emotional individual, the turtle. And this can indicate also these kind of emotions coming into your life at a time when, you may be surrounded by a lot of people right now who are going through a lot of difficulties and a lot of emotional issues. You yourself may not be dealing with them, but you may have a lot of loved ones around you who are dealing with them, with that, right? And life is a little bit difficult for them in that way, and you're feeling it. This is a time when turtle energy could show up to sort of give you the strength to be able to, feel and empathize with them, but yet to also not get swept up in it, in such a way so that your whole life is being affected also. To have at least enough separation that while you're being supportive, you're not necessarily losing yourself. It's a strong energy to have, turtle, and it can come in a lot of different ways, and that is one of them. Let's go ahead and pull out your forecasts now for the week and see how these messages may play into your week, Libra. And again, these forecasts are they're intended to be for a separate experience or separate Libra. So you may only resonate with one of these forecasts or a portion of it, and that's fine. Page of Pentacles, Ten of Swords, Ten of Wands, 2 10s and a page. Very nice. So Page of Pentacles, pages are always associated with earth. And here we have the earthy aspect of earth. This is somebody who's very, very practical, Libra. So you're coming into this week with a real sense of tackling problems in your sort of everyday to-day life, maybe whatever it is you do for a career or your business. It's the sort of day-to-day tasks that you have to get through, whether it be at home or whether it be at work. You are being very sort of practical right now. You're You're also being sort of very able, right? Page of Pentacles is really able to fix things. So whatever issues need to be tackled, it's like you have the stamina to deal with it. You know what I mean? You have the wherewithal to deal with it. You understand the problem. You can fix the problem. Page of Pentacles is a really nice sort of energy like that, right? And it's also quite an enthusiastic energy, perhaps after some time of maybe not having as much energy to get things done. This could be very similar to Mouse in a lot of ways, in that, you know, the Mouse does have that unending sort of energy to be able to do so many different things. But in any case, you're coming into the week feeling really sort of industrious and very sort of practical. And you come up against the Ten of Swords, for some of you, rounding off with the Ten of Wands. This week marks a real end to a long period of struggle. It could be one of the reasons why you're coming in so practical, because you may have a lot of different things that you need to take care of, because right now it seems that some of you Libras are switching from one life to the next, right? You have 2 tens here, so that's completion, right? So you're switching. Some of you may be switching jobs. You may be coming out of long-term relationships and switching jobs and moving. It just seems like this is definitely a week that is sort of marking the end for a Libra out there who is leaving all this strife behind, though, right? So this is the end to a period of struggling. This is also an end to a period of carrying a lot of burden and hang-ups, you know. This could have been a period of healing. Some of you may be coming out of a therapy, a long-term therapy. Some of you may be coming out of healing sessions. In any case, it's like the struggle and all of that is behind you. You're coming right out into a whole new sort of level. And this week marks the week for it. So it's a really big week, you know, some of you, and it's like, if this is what you're resonating with, I think, you know, you say to yourself, well, why is this, what's the point of the spread? I think the point of the spread is also to say that for some of you, this is going to be an important week to pay attention. Religious factors. It could be a very spiritual week for you. There may be a lot of sort of messages that begin to come in. It usually comes in at a time of completion, because you're really sort of wide open to sort of all kinds of energies at times like this, because they're very significant times in our lives, right? It can also be that, like I said, for some of you who are coming out of maybe therapy, or you finished a rehabilitation period and it's now over, you're ready to sort of come back into life. That could very well be these 2 tens. You want to think about the spider energy as well, that sense of, you know, have you found something or faith or a belief or spiritual path that is helping you to sort of, you know, end these periods? You know, remember to adhere to them. Remember to sort of think about living your life in Dharma so that you can have that sort of real stable base, right? You know, just working forward from this position with a sense of sort of stability, wanting to maintain your stability. This is really, really nice, because it is the end of a difficult time. But once again, it's the beginning of a whole new time, and you want that to be very, very strong. Nice. Knight of Swords, 9 of Wands, and 5 of Pentacles. So some of you are indeed, I want to say you may even be, it's almost as if this reading is for a Libra that's a little bit past the last stage we were at. Because here you have, some of you are coming into the week with Knight of Swords. And so you're coming into the week really able to think of ways to overcome any obstacles that have come in your way. You're being very clear-headed. This is much more about your mind, right? So you're thinking very clearly. You're coming up with really clear ideas about what you want to do, how to overcome any obstacles in your way. You're also sort of coming into the week with a fierce amount of confidence and will and ability. You're feeling really positive. And you're absolutely on your path of moving forward. You come into the week, you're met with the 9 of Wands. And this is interesting because it almost feels as though there is one more sort of relationship or connection, Libra, that you have. And you're looking back. You've come out of a period of perhaps change. Like with the last reading, there was a real end, right, to a certain period. It's right behind you. I think for some of you, this reading, this particular spread is for a Libra who has indeed come out of it. But now this week, something happens, some event comes in, and it really forces you to look back on one portion of your life. It forces you to look back perhaps on a lingering bit of baggage that you still have. Yes, you may have resonated up to completion, like from the last spread. You may have gotten to a point, Libra, some of you, that yes, you kind of came out of a difficult period. You came up, maybe you finished, like I said, a rehabilitative period or a therapeutic period or period of healing. Maybe the money worries are behind you, or certain baggage that you've been collecting, a sense of burden and responsibility is something that you've sort of laid down and you're over that. Nevertheless, then this week you come in and you're well on your new path, but this week it could be that a friend from the past comes into your life, or something happens in some kind of way that reminds you of the past. It could also be a lingering relationship, that one relationship to someone that is from your past that may not be such a healthy relationship that you're still having. And this week you realize it's an issue or it's a problem. And the reason why it's a problem, and the reason why I say that, is because you round your week off with Five of Pentacles, which is a power dynamic that is now split. So this is why I say it feels very much like a relationship that is still lingered. Although you've moved on from the worst of it, you may have moved on from a really difficult time in your life several months prior to this, right? This week you're still kind of dealing with some kind of leftover connection, because that connection then falls apart. Now by the end of the week it finally does come to a split, and oftentimes Five of Pentacles is when there is a split in either in a union or a partnership or in a group of people, and you're the one who's sort of cast out, right? You're the one who sort of, certainly you're the one who comes out of this, right? Out of this split, usually having paid a financial price or now paying a financial price, right? This is why it's a Five of Pentacles. It's a time in our lives where we experience a bit of financial hardship due to the power dynamics or power struggles we've had with others in our lives, right? This could be sort of coming back after a divorce or a separation, and all the finances are split and now you're having to start all over again, right? Or it could be a power dynamic that you have at work or with friends, where all of a sudden now you broke up or you no longer speak to each other. One of you has to move, or you have to move if you were perhaps living together with someone. This would be an example of that kind of energy. And then now it's like, yeah, okay, if you have to move, you have to pay more rent. And, it has some kind of residual financial effect. And it's interesting. It almost, like I said, Libra, it feels like the last relationship that needs to be dealt with. And it may indeed impact you financially in some way. But it will be sort of the last thing, because with Nine of Wands, we're talking about really looking back on some baggage that we beginning to see perhaps for the first time, some things that we continue to hold on to that is baggage or that is unhealthy for us. And it just could be that this relationship up until now still didn't seem as toxic as it did. Nevertheless, you have this split here, right? And you still have to go through this kind of, period of working yourself back up financially. Fool, Lovers, and Knight of Cups. This is your last reading. So the Fool, Lovers, and Knight of Cups, some of you are coming into this week with a whole new sort of attitude towards a love connection, right? You're calling in a love connection, I think. This may be a new life for you in any case. I think this feels very much, this spread for Libra, who's probably just recently moved to where they're at now, or started a new position or a job. And it feels like you're starting a whole new life, right? And you're feeling quite free right now anyway, and quite sort of, uninhibited in a lot of ways. This feels like a nice week for you, Libra, and you're going to have a love connection out there. Lovers, there's going to be a lot of romantic feelings. I think you're going to meet somebody. This feels, again, like a Libra who's just hit town. Like if you just moved to Chicago, say you just moved to California, or you just moved to New York, and it's like you're living your best life, and it's all like really exciting. And then this week you have this really nice connection with somebody. By the end of the week, you have a Knight of Cups. So somebody is definitely interested in you, Libra, and they're wanting to come into you, right? They're wanting to come in for you. And by the end of the week, they're, definitely going to be wanting to call you and talk to you. And this is a real meeting of someone who's very much like you. I want to say that these romantic feelings are very, very strong here. It could be that this is a different type of person than what you're used to, right? But in any case, it feels really nice. And this is certainly going to be for a Libra who's already, like, right now, full of sort of excitement in their lives because they've started some really new, lovely adventurous sort of new stage in their life represented here with the Fool. All right, guys, we're going to leave it at that. This is your reading for January 25th to the 31st. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to hit the bell so you can get notified when I update or premiere my videos. And I'm also on Instagram, Bow and Arrow Tarot, so you can link over there and then you'll get notified every time I premiere my video. All right, guys, for right now, have a wonderful week, Libra, and I'll see you next week for your weekly. Bye-bye.